Superman, issue 16. Written by Tomasi and Patrick Gleason, and an art by Tony S. Daniel and Clayman.
Yeah.
Hefty.
This is going to be an argumentative one. I can feel it.
Yeah.
Why would it be an argumentative one, Connor? What makes you say that?
Because this is the first issue of the run I have finished and felt disappointed after I read it.
It's funny, because I'm kind of in a similar wavelength to you, although I've been kind of the opinion that this arc, Multiplicity, has been my least favourite of the run. And I've kind of had that opinion the last couple of weeks. I mean, I've liked them, I've had their moments, but they've not been...
You've been like that from day one.
Yeah.
Since the first issue.
And this issue, for me, I agree with, I think, what Connor's going to say about it, plus it has the general feelings I've had. So for me, it is kind of like, yeah, it's not that great an issue.
I think I'm more disappointed with it than you are, because obviously you weren't as into it already as I am.
So, whereas I'm like, oh, I'm glad this is over. We can get back to Superman and Son now.
I'm just like, damn it, it's over?
3 issues. Yeah, 3 issues wasn't enough to unpack all of this. So I will give it there. But
I feel like there was no middle. I got 2 issues of build-up, and then I got an ending.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm disappointed.
That said,
where's the rest of my story?
That said, Tomasi and Gleason told a crisis-level story in 3 issues.
That's kind of the problem, isn't it? That you need more issues. You need at least like 5.
What I really needed, and I felt this way from the start, is I really needed time to get to know some of these other characters to make me... Because, I mean, in this issue...
Should have read Multiverse, bro.
Racer. I tried. I read 3 of it, and it was okay, but...
I managed to read the entire damn thing again.
Again.
Yeah, but I thought it was a chore. It was taking me like half an hour to get through one issue.
Yeah, you got to the end of certain issues, you're like, okay, let me just read the next one, and then I'll finish. All right, let me get to the next one. P wasn't doing that. P was like, let me finish this, and I'll never read it again. Like...
Let me finish this, and then I can go to sleep.
I think that Prophecy was a weak villain, all things considered.
Yes.
Because we still don't know the motivations. But again, this has, I think, a lot to do with what Superman Reborn is. Because...
Oh, by far, the best part of this issue was the tease at the end when we see Mr. Oz, and it's like, oh, what's going on? Rebirth stuff.
Yeah, well, right, so I feel like they were handcuffed a little bit by that and the, deciding to do it in 3 issues. But there's some really great Superman moments in this one. So...
And there is, I'm not going to argue that. Like, individually, there is great stuff in this issue, but it just doesn't satisfy the overall story, which is a real problem for them.
And they make this big deal with, is it Rad Racer, the speedster from the other Earth?
Red Racer.
Red Racer, yeah, Rad Racer. They should have called him Rad Racer. He has to build a ship that can travel to, match the music of the other ship, and it'll take him, was it thousands, millions of years, whatever he said it was?
Thousands. Well, it took Nick Shuotoa 1,000 years to assemble all the parts, but they have the blueprints, they know what they're doing.
So he goes at super speed and builds it, but doing so kills him, and it's this sad moment when, he's being carried at the end of it, and he's like giving his life so they can go and save all the Superman.
It's not a crisis unless the Flash dies. That's just
but the problem with it was, I'm like, but I barely know who this guy is, and I get the sacrifice, but I don't really feel much because I feel like...
Because you didn't read Multiverse.
That's not an excuse.
Kind of is when this is essentially a sequel to it.
No, essentially does not count as a sequel. It's not a sequel.
Well, I'm just looking at it with all the red skies, with the Flash dying, with Superman having these big, huge moments that only Superman can have. And no, it's just like an homage to all the crises,
It is.
No, that is what it is, but it's not enough issues. I didn't really care about a lot of the other characters. I just cared about our Superman more than anything.
So I just plugged in to that, to where, you get these moments, and then Prophecy is just kind of like the anti-Monitor, and with the power of Superman and hope and whatever, they bring him down. Although that's really not what happens, because we see Oz at the end pulling the string still. Kind of like with Doomsday.
I'm not saying I can respect what you're saying there, because you're right, it is just Crisis in a nutshell. But as much as I enjoy what that is, it's not enough on its own feet to stand apart and tell a story. It was, like I said, it was a beginning which I was really loving. I was like, oh, this is building up to something great. I'm really digging this.
Yeah.
For 2 issues, it's like, oh, okay, this is getting to the meat of it now at the end of the last issue, and then it was just over. I was like, wait, that's it?
Yeah,
I just
I
can't
didn't pay
fathom what
attention.
happened to the rest of it.
Yeah, I didn't pay attention to this being the conclusion when you're looking at the solicits and
Well,
whatnot.
I didn't realize until like just before I
Yeah.
read it, or I was like, oh, hang on, this is the conclusion. That's weird. And I don't know. I feel like another. I mean, Reborn's not till March, right?
Yeah, March.
So we got another issue before
2.
that starts.
2.
Another 2 issues,
2?
right?
Oh no, 1.
So this is the first one,
Yeah.
February. So another
yeah,
one.
another one. Yeah.
So we'll have
I
like
feel-
a fair issue.
Yeah.
I feel like if it is a build up to Reborn, then I guess okay, fine, you had to. If it is
That's
just
what
like
I'm
a
thinking.
fair issue and it is just its own thing entirely, I'm gonna be kind of annoyed because no matter how good that fair issue was and how good this one might be, that could have been an issue for this story and just done a 4-issue arc and made it
Decompress
much
it.
better. Yeah.
See,
little bit, yeah.
I get that, but part of me is just happy to be out of it. If I get a fair issue,
Yeah.
I will be happy with
But
that.
if
because
you'd
that's what I
had
wanted.
if you'd had a middle to this story and got a more satisfying, rounded story, would you not have just enjoyed it more overall, and you wouldn't be feeling this way?
Yeah, but I was feeling this before issue 3.
Well, yeah, because
Yeah.
you only had the build up, and then you got an ending. If you'd had a middle to kind of give you the feeling as well,
I don't think so though, Connor, because this Morrissey stuff turns Pete off. We know it
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
So, he was already coming in from a hole.
Yeah, it glosses over all these extra. I love alternate universe stuff when you actually spend the time to focus on what makes them different and get to know them a little bit more. But it's like I was presented with all these characters. It's like, okay, I get the broad concepts you're giving me here, but I'm not really connecting them. So the things I loved the most about the last couple of issues, it was our Superman when he sacrifices himself, says, I am Superman. It was moments like that where I'm like, yes, this is my guy.
And I also feel reading it like Prophecy was supposed to be the Anti-Monitor, just with the MO of destroying these worlds, looking for an energy source, right, to fight whatever's coming. Is that in Manhattan? Like, what is coming?
Yeah, well,
That he needs to wipe out Earths to get a Superman.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of breadcrumbs there that, again, I'm not looking at this as a proper arc. This is definitely a bridge arc to Reborn, with action and all that, because all that weird stuff that's been going on there with Doomsday and Oz. And where else have we seen Oz pop up in Superman? It was Doomsday. It was...
Rebirth.
What
If we're
else?
counting that, I mean, obviously it wasn't Superman
Yeah.
in the book, but
Yeah.
so I think it's interesting here at the end when he is talking to Prophecy, who he's now captured. Which, by the way, I will say that I love the look of this last page. It's gorgeous.
It's the only page of the book where I think that, because for the most of it, I feel like the art is kind of rushed.
Yeah, well, that's what Daniel. So the Daniel stuff really sticks out because then the man stuff looks like Daniel, but not quite.
Yeah, and Daniel's stuff is not up to his usual standard either. I
No.
don't think.
Yeah.
But that last page is great.
The other stuff I did like was Clark and Keenan bonding.
Yep.
That was fun stuff. Them getting some food together in
the end.
Shanghai. That was pretty cool. But what I do think is interesting about the Oz stuff at the end is he's talking to Prophecy and he's saying how I admire your trying to fight back against the unknown and your impending doom, but your methods were wrong and you weren't in the right place or the right time.
Yeah.
Like really interesting insinuations there. So
Right.
that made me want to go back. Just that page, go back and reread that once we've seen
Yeah,
more of
it
Mr.
bolds
Oz.
the final word. He says, you were in the wrong place at the wrong time with a method that was quite unsound. And it's
Unsound.
that unsound is bolded.
Unsound. What could unsound mean?
I don't know.
I'm not entirely sure.
Well, we had that whole thing that the universe is on different frequencies
Yeah.
Yeah.
and stuff. So him pulling. So the way I always looked at Morrison setting up the different Earths and whatnot is New Earth's like the keystone, right at the bottom, or like at an inverted pyramid. So anything happens to New Earth, it causes ripple effects to all the others.
I
So I
think the
feel
way he
like-
did it on his multiversity map was New Earth was in the center.
Yeah.
It ripples outwards.
Well, because you have the Orrery of Worlds, right?
Yeah.
They all at the main headquarters, the Hall of Heroes,
Yeah.
and so what Prophecy was doing to me was going to all these different ones that weren't exactly connected and pulling pieces. But it's when he came to New Earth to get Keenan, that was basically his undoing. Was he started meddling where he shouldn't have been meddling at that point in time. You know, because it brought the attention of this anomaly Superman from original Earth. Well, Earth Classic, is that what we decided to call it? You know, you have New Earth, Earth Classic.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
But yeah, and so, you know, I took that's what it meant with the unsound. You know, just play back into the whole
Yeah, that would work.
sound even form. But it's just, again, more of the Mr. Oz stuff.
It might
I
be
feel-
one of those things that just makes more sense. Like when we actually read more about Mr. Oz, we see what event he comes into play, which might just be Superman Reborn. Like when we go back and reread this, oh well, unsound means something a bit more to us because
Yeah.
we've learned down the road.
Also, looking at that page, it says next got milk, which makes me think, yeah, it's going to be one of those standalone fair issues, isn't
Yep.
it? God
Because
damn
we
it.
also know, well, we also already knew something was going on with the milk because of the friend's grandpa.
Yeah.
What's her name? He was talking about something was affecting the milk at his dairy farm. So, we'll see.
Continuity. You got to remember the milk. The milk
Aye.
I do.
vital to all this.
Obviously.
Vital.
In fairness, I probably read Superman closer than most people, so, you know.
How many times have you reread through this already, Matt?
I've thumbed through it. I didn't read it all the way through, but I went and looked. Because again, like, I also like Super Demon. Like, that's such a great concept. You have a magical Earth, yet Etrigan's the Superman character. Like, that's such a weird concept to me that I like it.